Welcome back to the IBFP. Here's your host, Boxing New.
Who you got?
Andrade? Tell me your hit list.
So, man, who you want?
I told you, Andrade. A lot of people talk about you fighting Chris Eubank Jr.
Hey, we work. Hey, we still working quarantine and not. Ask Al. Ask Al Heyman.
Who's that? You told me you're your own boss. Lions only.
What'd you say?
Welcome back, fight fans. Welcome back. Jermall Charlo never wanted to fight Saul Canelo Alvarez. And let me just break it down. It was always clout, not smoke with Jermall Charlo. You know, Mauricio Suleiman recently came out and stated, I want to see Canelo Alvarez versus Jermall Charlo at middleweight, 160 pounds, but we can't have it all. He's not optimistic of that fight happening, but he thinks it'll be a great fight. He wants to see the fight. And, you know, my opinion is, you know, based off the facts, based off the situation, we know that Jermall Charlo has only been clout chasing Canelo Alvarez. He's never seriously wanted to fight Canelo. Let's just be real. And we start with Oscar De La Hoya. You know, Oscar De La Hoya a few months ago came back and exposed Jermall Charlo. You know, he was offered an opportunity to fight Canelo Alvarez in 2019, and he passed on it. He turned down an offer. Now, you got to think about it. This guy turned down a career-high payday. He turned down an opportunity to get on the pound-for-pound list, an opportunity to unify titles. He passed up on a career-defining fight. And who was Jermall Charlo's last two fights? Who were they? Brandon Adams and Dennis Hogan, two fighters moving up from 154 to 160. He never wanted to fight Canelo Alvarez. He doesn't even fight the same level of opposition. Let's just be honest and unbiased. Turning down that fight put the nail in the coffin of his career. This guy is the same age as Canelo, 29 years old, but he's actually a few months older. So a guy that's slightly older than Canelo Alvarez and has accomplished literally nothing compared to Canelo in the sport. When you look at things in a big sequence, look at it like this. Canelo Alvarez, if he retired today without another fight, he'd be considered an all-time great fighter. Jermall Charlo, on the other hand, has still not even proven himself at the elite level. Let's just be honest and unbiased. And let me give you further evidence that Jermall Charlo never wanted to fight Canelo Alvarez. Look at it like this. He also turned down an offer from Demetrius Boo Boo Andrade. You know, at the end of the day, Jermall Charlo, you know, he basically came out on the Boxing Voice and stated that, you know, he'd rather fight another champion. Andrade is a nobody. He's stating that Andrade is a nobody when he has nobody on his resume. That would have been the perfect fight for both fighters. So I give Demetrius Andrade his credit for wanting that fight, for making the offer for that fight, for going after that fight. But at the end of the day, Jermall Charlo simply didn't want to smoke and basically saying that he'd rather fight somebody else than Demetrius Andrade is an absolute duck. So not only did he turn down an offer from Canelo, he also turned down an offer from Demetrius Andrade as well. But that's not all. Then he turns around. When you look at Danny Jacobs with the statement, Danny Jacobs, you know, him and Jermall Charlo had a lot of back and forth. Jermall Charlo called him out several times. Danny Jacobs responds, and, you know, he's recently stated, I don't think Charlo would fight me. I tamed that line. His direct quotes were, I don't think he would take it because you've got to understand the proof is in the pudding. He called me out or said a couple of things about me, and once I retaliated, you heard no more. He also went on to say you never heard anything after that, especially not a call out. In fact, what you heard him say was, well, the Jacobs fight will come. It's not going to come now. It's going to come in the future. So you got to think about it like this. So you start talking all this mess about Danny Jacobs, and when he responds, you have nothing to say. You go quiet. You tuck your tail between your legs. Come on now, we got to be honest and unbiased. If we're honest about it, we saw that Jermall Charlo never wanted to fight Canelo Alvarez, turned down the fight. Never wanted to fight Demetrius Andrade, turned down the fight. Never wanted to fight Danny Jacobs, turned down the fight. He's been clout chasing the whole time and never wanted the smoke. We got to be honest and unbiased. This is the guy that's called out Danny Jacobs, that's called out Canelo, that's called out, you know, Demetrius Andrade, and yet wanted none of those fights. So when he calls out a guy like David Benavidez at 168, it lets you know that it's all clout and no smoke. Once again, unbiased as always, it's the IBFP.